Job Guys.
The Job Guys.
What's happening, everybody? The Job Guys back with you one more time for this emergency podcast. And because it's an emergency, we had to call in our main man, 911. Mike Brisson is here today. Nitro Nick could not be with us. He teaches in Orlando. They're already back in school. So he's actually teaching this week. So we brought in our other teacher for this emergency pod. Mike, thanks for being here, dude. And I'm glad you're here because this kind of pertains to you. Everything that's going down, this big merger, ESPN now getting the WWE PLEs. And it's caused all sorts of confusion. We're going to break it all down and hopefully clear some of it up because there's still a ton out there. Mike, you were one of them. You hit me up this afternoon at some point, and you're like, dude, now I got to shell out another $30 a month. Tell us what you thought I don't know how you found out, if you looked at ESPN or got on your phone or what.
I was actually scrolling through Facebook, and I saw the ESPN strikes $1.6 billion streaming deal with WWE. So I'm thinking, okay, basically everything from Peacock is going over to ESPN. And from what I've read, it's PLEs. It's so what, and it sounds like I was reading PW Insider, and all they're speculating right now is all what's going to happen right now is they're probably going to shop a lot of that other stuff either to Netflix. Maybe that will get included with part of their Netflix deal. Whether Peacock gets to retain some of it, but what happens to all the old stuff, the old Raws, the old Manias? And I know they upload their stuff on the vault on YouTube, but there's going to be so many places. Like it's going to be easy to forget or to lose where some of this stuff goes.
Well, tell me about yourself and why you were concerned. And again, we will try to knock down some of those concerns for everybody out here. You've cut the cord, right? So
yeah, we got rid of cable earlier this year, and most everything we watch is streaming. There was one or two things, but then I can just find a lot of the stuff on YouTube. But I was going through it, and I watched stuff on the ESPN app before, and it seems hit or miss to me.
Mm-hmm.
I know they're getting the new app.
Yep.
Hopefully it will be better. But does this mean that? So if I already have ESPN Plus, do I have to pay a different amount now? Because I mean, my ESPN Plus has always been bundled with like Disney and Hulu.
Right.
And now do I have? I know there will be more details coming out, but if not, it's like ordering the pay-per-views again from Dish or cable from back in the day.
And so for some people, that will be. I don't know every detail on earth as far as what you said. You have the Disney and Hulu bundle. From what I am told, Hulu is going away. Yep. I don't know when and whatever. We do know there is a new ESPN app, just going to be called ESPN, not ESPN Plus in any of this. It had been talked about since May. We will get into that a little bit in a second as well. But they are going to launch it August 21st. $29.99 per month. Obviously, that has a lot to do also with this merger with the NFL. The NFL Network was acquired by ESPN yesterday. And now the NFL, that means they get the red zone, they get all that stuff. The NFL acquired 10% of ESPN. So they are partners now. They are literal partners. Well, now the WWE jumps in there too. The PLEs will be on this instead of Peacock, but it's just the PLEs, as you said. It's not all the backlog. You can't go watch SummerSlam 1988 on ESPN. As of right now, that may be a different deal coming down the road. Obviously, that ticked off a lot of people because now they're going, wait a minute, I pay $9.99 or whatever it is for Peacock. Now I got to pay $30?
Bogus!
And I don't get the archive? What the heck?
What kind of disgusting, despicable.
Well, this is partially ESPN and WWE's fault, Mike, because they broke the news with a tweet. They really didn't have much detail. Then a press release came out. Same thing with ESPN. Press release came out. They did not say kind of intimate details for people if you are thinking you're going to spend another $30 a month. Here's the deal, and this goes back to what they announced in May. If you already have ESPN, whether it be on Xfinity or Charter or DirecTV, YouTube TV, any of that. If you already have ESPN, you are grandfathered in. You will get this new app. Now, you will have to watch through the app, which kind of like we did with Peacock. Remember when Peacock was free if you had Xfinity, because it's all owned by the same company? So you put in like your Xfinity credentials, whatever your like Xfinity login was. You put that into Peacock. That's what you're going to do here. So if you already have cable, luckily for me, I have not cut the cord. So I'm going to get it. I just got to log into this app now, and you get everything. And that means you get this new app is going to be every ESPN channel. It's going to be the Red Zone. It's going to be all that stuff. So you're getting all that stuff. So for me, if I want, I don't need Peacock anymore to watch wrestling. I can get rid of Peacock. So I'm actually going to save $10 a month instead of spending $30 a month. But nowhere in any of these press releases did WWE say that. So everybody, including the biggest wrestling journalist that there is out there, they do a live show at 3 o'clock Monday through Friday on YouTube. You can figure out who it is. They went on their show today and said all this stuff that we're going to have to pay an extra $30. And if it's like UFC, we're going to have to buy the pay-per-views as well, which people were worried about, because that's what you do right now with ESPN Plus. If you want to see a UFC pay-per-view, you have to pay another $50 on top of that. Well, that had all been figured out already, but at 3 o'clock Eastern time, 9 hours after the announcement, the biggest wrestling journalists on earth were giving out false information. Like, what were you doing all day?
You big dummy.
This is the biggest story there is. What were you doing all day? So if they were making that mistake, of course, Tom, Dick, and Harry were thinking that too. And the aggregators and the influencers who just went online without knowing any of the details. So I woke up to 48 texts today about this. Now, myself, as you know, Mike, I'm in television. So I follow a lot of like the trade journals on Twitter and stuff. The second I got on Twitter, the very first thing I saw was, if you already subscribe to any ESPN, you're fine. So I knew, like, it took me 1 second. And granted, I'm looking for that stuff every day. So anyway, there is that. Now, here's the problem, Mike. I love sports, so that's no big deal to me. Like, I'm going to have ESPN to watch the NBA, the NFL, Monday Night Football, college basketball. I need ESPN. So this is no big deal to me, even if I didn't already have cable. There are a lot of wrestling fans that don't. They don't care about basketball. They don't care about, Michigan football or whatever like I do. So their bill's getting tripled. their bill is getting tripled. So and then if you add Netflix on top of that, they're paying $50 a month now to watch WWE. I can see where they would be a little upset with this. If there was just one place, Mike, because now, shoot, dude, you got Netflix, you got HBO, which has some wrestling on it if you're a fan of that. So there's another bill. We got Paramount, we got Apple TV. If there was just one place where we could get everything under one roof and pay one price for, if we just had one of those.
Isn't that that's the Jim Gaffigan line? We could call it something too.
Yeah, we could even call it, like, if there was just one, I don't know, cable you could run into your house that would give you all the channels. Did I explain that well enough? I know I went real fast. Like, if you have cable or YouTube TV or any device that's like cable that has ESPN, you are fine. You do not have to pay, and the pay-per-views will not cost extra.
Let's say I had just ESPN and I'm paying $10-12 a month or whatever. Now my bill is going up to $30.
Yeah,
I assume there will be tiered levels. Like, hey, if you want, this is like your basic, or your, maybe they'll call them a premium or a premium plus or whatever. But I'm assuming there will be tiers for it. But it's a lot of extra money for some people that are just gonna what about for the people who just are going to pay it no matter what, and then they don't even realize that it's one of the reasons is wrestling, and obviously football is that with the NFL ticket, that's going to be a big one too.
That's big. Yeah, that's definitely big. But yeah, again, for the people that only watch wrestling, that do not watch any sports, yeah, I can see why you'd be a little upset. But I just can't. They did a very bad job, and they had a couple conference calls right after this. Disney had its earning call at like 8 o'clock this morning. WWE had a call, Nick Khan, and they tried to explain a lot of that then. And CNBC actually knew all the details. They were live at like 7 in the morning or something like that. So if you saw that CNBC report, they told you exactly what I just said at 7 in the morning. Well, not everybody's watching that, and they're not following the sports reporter on Twitter like I am, and I saw his report on there. So I totally understand why people were a little bit confused, and I don't know why they didn't give more details like on ESPN, because they had Roman was on today, Cody was on, Triple H was on, all these guys were on First Take and Sports Center this morning, and they said nothing of the fact. And I went on WWE.com too, and it's just all wrestling. And then I went to the corporate site, and it wasn't on there either at that point. So very strange as far as that goes. So hopefully, you do subscribe to cable or some sort of ESPN, and you're going to be fine. Again, here's the other thing. A lot of people are talking about those bundles, though. I don't know the date, if that's August 21st as well, and they're getting rid of those bundles and all that, because Hulu is going to go away. They're going to move everything from Hulu over to Disney Plus. I don't know what day that is, though. So that will be another interesting factor.
Ryan, I was looking on, and I didn't see a confirmed one, but the only thing I kept seeing is, well, this year WWE is going to have 10 PLEs, and next year they're hoping to maybe get 12. So does that maybe, are they kind of including, well, if Mania and SummerSlam are 2 nights, does that where you get your extra 2? So are they going to try to add more? And if I one article I saw, it looks like they want to try to add content that will be not just the PLEs, it will also be additional content similar to what we heard Netflix was going to get. That's when we saw Unreal.
Yep.
Was part of that. So what is ESPN going to get? And
I got a couple answers for that as well. So on the conference call, Nick Khan did say, as for now, it could be more, not going to be less. 10 PLEs. That does include 2 nights of SummerSlam and of WrestleMania. So that's 12. NXT pay-per-views are not included in this. It's just WWE pay-per-views. So that could be staying on Peacock. I don't know. No one knows yet. And again, no one knows where the library is going. Worldwide, everything is on Netflix. Every single thing is on Netflix worldwide. So, all you have to do is go on there. You got every pay-per-view, every library, whatever. One thing people are saying, I've never done this, I don't know exactly how it works, is get a VPN and tap into some other country's Netflix and watch that way. It will be cheaper. If you watch anything else on YouTube, you see Fightful and all these other guys, NordVPN, so that's what that is. You can then, I guess it's cheaper, another way to go. I don't know the details, how much of a hassle that is. Doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal. As for the extra content, though, Nick Khan said they could add more pay-per-views, and if they do, they'll be included. And the extra content, I read somewhere, which we knew they were doing them, but it doesn't seem like as many lately. Peacock, they were supposed to do 5 documentaries a year. And they did a good job there at the beginning. They do the 24s and the day ofs or whatever they were.
The legends that was supposed to have like Lex and Bulldog, and we never got a lot of. We got 3, and they showed like 8 or 9. I assume some of that footage is somewhere. It's just a matter of someone uploading it, or maybe it needs to go through an edit or something. But there was a lot of content that was started, and we get something every now and then. We got the Cody thing, the Bray thing. They've done things like that, but it seemed like
Usos one right at the very beginning of the Bloodline was awesome. The thing they did on the whole family. That is not included from what I am told, but ESPN does have rights, I guess, to do their own stuff that they can throw on there, which they may possibly do. The other cool thing about this is you're going to get Sports Center again live at some of these events. And you saw it a little bit. Jonathan Coachman would do live Sports Center hits before and after WrestleMania. You're going to see that again now. And you may see, let's say, the world title changes on a random Raw or one of the smaller pay-per-views, let alone WrestleMania. I bet you they show that on Sports Center now.
Yeah.
You know, I guarantee you they
when
will.
Coach went back, he had a segment, and you'd see guys on there. I mean, what was that? Maybe 10, 12 years ago.
Right.
And it was like a regular segment. What was it? I think it was always on like Tuesdays or Thursdays or something. There was always something on there. I know this is a way to reach an even bigger audience, but it feels, and this is just me, it feels like I got to go. Like, it's going to be hard to keep track of where to go for some. It will be an adjustment period, like it always is.
And especially old guys like us, because we don't know where the library is going to be at. And they've started that WWE Vault on YouTube. Maybe they do it exclusively on YouTube and everything. The Vault is on there now, because I know there's been numerous reports that saying people are not watching the old stuff. And probably younger people aren't, because they don't like old school wrestling. It's not fat. They think Savage Steamboat is terrible, you know? So not as many people are watching those. I know I do constantly, though. So I am very interested in where that goes. The other thing about it is they said certain, and they didn't specify which ones, but you can figure out which one. I know one for sure, WrestleMania. Certain pay-per-views or PLEs are going to be simulcast on ESPN. So, like, WrestleMania is going to be, it may be on ABC. Who knows? Because, you know, ABC owns ESPN, Disney owns ABC, It might be on ABC. I mean, who knows? So that's cool. Maybe SummerSlam, maybe the Rumble. These are going to be on real TV. So that's pretty cool, too, if you're WWE. Oh, and you get $330 million a year from them. That's pretty cool as well.
1.6 billion over 5 years. That's just an insane amount and that's just for one. That's just for one piece of the pie. Right. Netflix is paying what? It's $5 billion, $500 million a year for Raw, and again for some additional content. Like they're printing money. They're getting money everywhere, and it's mind-boggling. Like, that was one of the shocking things. I had a friend of mine who he texted me. He's like, the mouse is one step closer to owning the WWE. Well, they've got a piece.
Yeah, they got a big piece. They've got a big piece. And again, they may get the library too. I wouldn't think the library would be going there, though, because why wouldn't that just be in this deal, you know?
Right. And we see some glaring details that were not presented, and that nobody seems to know. And that does not seem like a WWE thing or an ESPN thing. Usually when they make big announcements, like, this is all we've got, and they go through step by step, kind of vague on this, which is a little shocking. Did you see the Pat McAfee tweet?
I did. Yeah. Taking his shots as he does.
What do they go? Mid-level execs are gonna. Oh, that guy. You never know what he's gonna say.
No, and it's funny that he's like bulletproof too, you know, because he's not like an employee of ESPN. They bought his show and stuck it on here. And the one guy he really didn't like, name is Norby Williamson. He's not there anymore. So he was leaking things, apparently, whatever. That's a whole long story, but that's why he made the tweet that he made there. And then if you go back again to when the announcement was first made that the new app is coming, I believe it's number 4 on their things you should know. And I'll put up a picture of it right here. Like, the number 4 thing was, if you are already a subscriber, this does not affect you at all. So that's great. That's great. But again, even some like the wrestling journalists, I guess this kind of hit them out of nowhere too. So they weren't looking at that ESPN thing back in May, and if they did, they didn't remember it. So yeah, I think maybe you should have had it figured out 9 hours later, but that's a different story. How about your friends and whatever? When
one of them said the first thing he popped up is ESPN better improve their app because it can barely handle golf sometimes, and he's a big hockey fan.
Yeah.
Two, I mean, one of the guys said and it's gonna feel like when I have some guys who come over and watch. One of them made the comment, it will remind me of the days where we all had to chip in for the pay-per-views like peasants around the tube television. But
yeah,
again, I watch enough other sports too, like ESPN. Again, I don't watch ESPN as much as I watch some of the other streaming devices, but obviously now I'll be watching more of it. And now what happens to Peacock? Because I mean, there's a few things on there that I watch, but I mean, my son watches it more than I do, but maybe that's
right.
One of the ones that again, if the library is there, I'll keep it because again, like you, I love the old stuff.
Yep.
I love the nostalgia of it. It's just good to see what it used to be because some of the stuff that we saw back in the day still holds up today, story-wise.
Yeah, the stuff, I will go wherever that library goes. Obviously Nick and I do recaps all the time on old shows. We just did another one last week, SummerSlam 1990, cheap plug. I'll put a little thing right up here. Click on that and check that out. We were 10 years old when that came out. But I still watch that stuff. I don't watch it all the time, but yeah, I will obviously go watch WrestleMania 3. And I'll go watch old Nitros. And, just 2 days ago, August 4th was the anniversary of Luger beating Hogan at the Palace. Yep. We were there, and
great.
I'll go watch that, especially on the anniversary dates and everything. I'll go watch a lot of that stuff. So, yeah, in VHS tapes, I mean, you can't buy a VHS player anymore, and who knows if you put it in, if it'll rip your tape up. So, I don't want to use my tapes from back in the day.
I should have kept all the DVDs of all the compilation sets I had from back. I got rid of a lot of that stuff when the WWE Network came.
Yeah.
Again, this is just little confusing about some of the details that, like, this is what we're going to do. I got to assume that they knew some of these things going in, but they glossed over it. Like, I mean, again, what's going to happen to the library?
You're right.
And it's not even a comment of something along the lines of, we know that's in concern. We know the library might be concerned for people, and we'll when we get those details, just something, even if it's a non-answer. Just it feels like they would give in something that just doesn't seem like very Nick Khan or ESPN.
And he may have said that on the conference call, and I don't know it. I gotta assume. I mean, Netflix owns it all across the world. Why would they not want it in America as well, since they already have a piece of the pie? That doesn't seem to make any sense. You would have to think that Netflix would be the front runner for that. But again, we'll find out, I guess, when we find out. And we don't know exact date of when the Peacock deal ends either. I've heard the first of the year. I've heard early next year. But at the very least, I got to think the Rumble is going to be, if not the first, one of the first pay-per-views.
Right. Unless they try to do something like a day one thing.
Right.
Back in the day when we were kids growing up, and you had to know like the 3 or 4 channels that wrestling would be on. This is similar. That's really kind of what it is. It's just, but you knew like, okay, it was only superstars on this channel. It was only primetime wrestling on this channel. And now it's not like you're watching one show. It's like, okay, where are all these things? Where's SmackDown? Well, I know where SmackDown's at, but
old people problems, Mikey.
Yeah, first world problems. But
old people problems. We're getting too old.
A massive amount of money, and then I saw it was like 78% more than what the NBC deal was. That's huge. I assume if they're doing ESPN and ESPN's paying that much money, I think it's safe to assume if it's not this year, 2027, the Rumble's got to be 2 nights.
Yeah. Well, and he didn't rule that out either. I mean, obviously he didn't come out and say that. Nick Khan being he, pronouns pal. But yeah, he didn't come out and say that directly, but you gotta think. You gotta think it's coming. Which I guess I'm not.
Money in the Bank and Survivor Series. It seems like you, instead of trying to do 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches or 2 War Game matches, because we know we're gonna do them one each night.
Well, and in the press release, they did say when they talked about premium live events, certain ones, and it said this includes WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, and Money in the Bank. That was listed in there. So we've heard, it's the big 5 now. I mean, that pretty much confirms it right there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I hope the platform, the ESPN platform is better. I mean, that's why I don't use it as much as, again, I'll be watching an NBA game and then I'll just get that buffer ring, or just, it's just very choppy and grainy, and all of a sudden it'll be like 25 seconds later and something have happened and I'm like, what I miss? It's just, I know it's not the most reliable. I can't imagine. I imagine like with Netflix, with the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson thing, they'll figure it out before they had the NFL on there. They'll do something. They'll have it ready, and especially when now the NFL is coming, because the NFL deal starts this year, correct?
Yeah, like right away.
No.
Yep.
We'll be watching.
Here's the one. Here's another first world problem for you. Since you mentioned it, when we were at Sports Illustrated working down there at SNH, all of our stuff was streaming, and we got all our highlights. We rolled off everything off of streaming in the ESPN app. And if you're sitting there and you're updating Twitter or updating web pages or whatever as you're watching games, you may update Twitter, and they're like, LeBron hits a buzzer beater to win Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals, and then it didn't show up on, because it was delayed by like 30 seconds, and then it was 30 seconds later that you saw it, and you're like, it was so delayed. Hopefully they can pick that up, so it doesn't get spoiled for you if you're watching online, watching on social media as well, and following along what people are saying. Yeah, hopefully they get that sped up. YouTube TV was very good. That was very quick and about on with everything else. So hopefully whatever they do, they speed that sucker up.
You almost wonder too, because I know WWE does their pre-shows. They have their panels. And that's obviously taken from College Game Day.
Yep.
I mean, does ESPN put their own little spin on it? Do they get a little hands-on like NBC did with early Saturday night's main events? Or do they just say like, nope, we're just going to have a couple guys there to oversee 1 or 2 things. You guys just do the way you do those little things too. I know those will probably come out later on.
They said the pay-per-views themselves will be produced by WWE. So that's not changing. Lee Fitting and Paul Levesque are still going to have their name at the bottom. But as for the pre-shows and all that, I don't know if they meant that too. Or I bet you may get ESPN personalities on there at the very least, on top of Jackie Redmond and whoever else is on there. They might have other people on there. That's a great question. I have no idea. Or does ESPN do their own for like the WrestleMania, like we're talking about? Do they do their own on top of whatever's on the app? I don't know.
Stephen A. sitting on a panel with Big E and Booker
crap.
T.
That's coming. You know what? All right, now I'm out on the whole thing.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. Let me tell you.
I was for it. Now I'm out. They're going to have Stephen A. Smith on these things.
Oh yeah.
He's going to be on all these pregame shows now. You just ruined it for me, Mikey.
He could do an angle. He's a big personality.
Well, he was telling Roman today on First Take, he wants to be a manager, and what's the deal? I can be better than Paul Heyman and all this stuff. And he's been plugging at him for a little while whenever he's on around WrestleMania time. He did it again today, so I guarantee you that happens. Whenever it is, he's going to be there yelling at you.
Oh, again, big day for WWE, big day for TKO, big day for their bank accounts. That's a lot. I mean, that's over $250 million every single year.
Here you go, man. I got the number in front of me. 78% increase over the previous 5-year, $900 million agreement for Peacock. And again, that doesn't include the library. So somebody's probably going to give them what? At least another $500 million for the library whenever we find out when that is.
It's almost $1 billion a year. And like you said, that doesn't include the library. They've got their they've got their YouTube channel.
And that doesn't include what they charge you for tickets now. And that doesn't include you for the meet and greets they do with everything now. $50 a T-shirt now.
Just absolutely insane of how big it got.
Well, a lot of people said when they hired Nick Khan to be the president that was the smartest, most significant move in the history of WWE. And so far, it's looking like it. I mean, holy smokes.
I always thought there would be, I don't want to say a ceiling for pro wrestling, but I thought there'd be a way, like a plateau that it would reach, and he is just he's climbing a mountain. He's not just going up little hills.
He's building the mountain. Hopefully this cleared a little up. If you didn't find this out already, hopefully it cleared it up. And hopefully you already do have access to ESPN, because it'll save you $30 a month. If you don't watch basketball or baseball or anything else, yeah, it stinks, man. That's 20 more bucks a month that you're going to have to spend. So it's unfortunate for you.
I'm glad I watched a lot of sports, because now I'll just have to kind of stick with one. Again, it's nice that there's options.
Yep. Well, and as they kept saying today, you know, ESPN stands for Entertainment Sports Programming Network. Just flipped around a little dyslexia, but it's sports entertainment, and they're bringing the entertainment back to ESPN. There you go. Anything else, Mikey, before we get out of here?
I mean, you cleared up a couple of the things that I had too, because again, it just hopefully the next couple of days the
biggest detail everybody wanted is their pocketbook, and hopefully that's the way it was. But you know how those things go too. You know, Netflix keeps going up, and I think that's going up to like 27 a year or something like that, coming up here pretty soon. So, you know, they say it's $29.99 today. We'll see what it is next year. You know, It may, be cranked up a little bit.
You referenced it earlier. If only there was one place to put all of these things underneath.
If somebody could just figure it out, man. I mean, I don't know how we're going to do that. One of these days, some smart guy. In 1979, I bet you somebody will think of it. If we live till then, Mikey.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, sir.
Hey, buddy. Appreciate you so much for being here. Again, hopefully we cleared a few things up for you. Thank you for watching. Please hit like. Please hit subscribe. Please tell your friends. And until next time, Job Guys out.
You smell something, it's us, because we're the stuff.